to calculate any percentage in your head, you should be very comfortable with doubling and halving any number in your head. Now let's do that first. Let's talk about doubling first. To double 33, we just simply double this 3 to get 6 and this 3 to get another 6. So double of 33 is 66. Similarly, double of 42 is, double of 4 is 8 and double of 2 is 4. So double of 42 is 84. And when we want to double, let's say 26, so instead of doubling 2 and 6 separately, because doubling 6 will give us 2-digit answer, so let's break this 26 in 20 and 6 in our mind. Double of 20 is 40 and double of 6 is 12. We get 52, and that's how we do it in our mind. We double 20 to get 40 and we keep 40 in our mind, we remember it, and then we double 6 to get 12. 40 plus 12 in our mind will be 52. I am writing just for the sake of completing it here in the video so you can see what's happening in the mind, but we can do it mentally. Similarly, double of 35 is, double of 30 is 60 and double of 5 is 10. So we get 70. Double of 35 is 70. Now let's talk about halving the numbers. Now halving is the opposite of doubling. So half of 8 is 4 and half of 60 is, let's say half of 60 is 30, and if we do half of 46, it will be half of 4 is 2 and half of 6 is 3. We can do like that. And if we have, let's say 30, half of 30 is 15. We can break it in 20 and 10. So half of 20 is 10 and half of 10 is 5. We add them in our mind to get 15. And after very less practice, like 5 to 10 minutes of practice, will give us right away the answer in our head. And let's say half of 54 we want to do. We can do half of 50, that is 25, and half of 4 is 2. So we get 27 as half of 54. And this is very easy to do half of numbers. We just need a little bit of practice, and then we can check also. Let's say half of 78 is, half of 70, that is 35, and half of 8, that is 4, and that is 39. And then we can cross check that if we double this 39, we get 78. Double of 30 is 60 and double of 9 is 18. 60 and 18 is 78. We can double check it also if we did it correctly or not. So this is toolkit part A, that you should be very comfortable with doubling and halving any number. And toolkit part B is, we have some percentages that are very easy to get and that are frequently used. If we know how to get those percentages, we can get any other percentage using those percentages. So that is our toolkit. Let's see. For the sake of simplicity, we will take 640 as our example, right? So taking 10%, getting 10% of any number is very easy. We just shift the decimal point one place to the left, and if it's 0 in the end, like in our example, we just skip the 0 and 10% of 640 will be 64. We just skip the 0 or we shift the decimal point to the one place to the left. If we have 64 as 10%, 1% is just shift the point one place to the left in 10% and we'll get 1%. 1% of 640 is 6.4. It's that easy. So we should be able to get 1% of 10 or 10% of any number very easily because we don't have to calculate anything. We just shift the point one place to the left or two places to the left and we get 10% or 1%. Now, here comes the help of our toolkit part A. If we want 50% of any number, we just take half of that number. And we know half of 640 is 320. So 50% of 640 is 320, right? Half of 640. And if we want 25%, we have already 50%, 320. Half of that is 25%, right? Half of 50% is 25%. We just take half of a number twice. Half of 640 is 320 and half of 320 is, half of 300 is 150 and half of 20 is 10. So 150 and 10 is 160. So half of 320 is 160. That's our 25% of 640. And 5%, there are two ways of getting 5% because 5% is half of 10% and also 5% is 1/10 of this 50%. So we can do either way. We can do 10% and we can get 10%, or if we have 10%, we just take half of it, we get 5%. 5% of 640 will be half of 64, that is 32. Another way is if we have already 50%, then we know 1/10 is 5%. We just shift the point one place to the left and it will be same 32%. So we have 5% and if we want to get 0.5%, then again we have two ways of doing that. We can either do this. We have 1%, right? 6.4. We just take half of it. It will be 0.5% or 0.5% of 640. That will be half of 6.4, that is 3.2. Or the other way is we already have 5%. We just shift the point one place to the left in 5%, it will become 0.5%. 0.5 is 1/10 of 5%. So we just shift the point here and we get same 3.5. So we are done with these 6 percentages, very important. And again, for 2.5%, we can do the same thing. We can either, if we have 25%, we just shift the point one place to the left. We already have 25% here and we shift the point one place to the left, it will be 16. So let's write it here. 2.5% of 640 is 16. Or another way of doing this is we already have 5%. Half of that 5% is 2.5. Half of 5% is 2.5 and we know that 5% is 32. We can just take half of it. It will become 16. Half of 30 is 15 and half of 2 is 1. 15 and 1 is 16. All of this we can do it in our mind after a little practice. But in the end also I will give you this tip. Actually I will give you a couple of tips. In those two tips, one tip is always do these or any trick you learn on paper and pencil first. When you are master of that trick on paper and pencil, then start doing it mentally and you will be very comfortable. Don't right away do it mentally. First do it on paper and pencil, practice it, and then it will become very easy. So let's do some questions together. We'll do these three together, and then these five you have to do with as a practice. So, or I can do alternate this, then this, just to, or let's say third this one. Okay. Now we know that 10% of, I am taking the same number 640 for the sake of simplicity, and you can apply the same uh, methods on any number, doesn't matter. So we know 10% of, let's just write like this, 10% of 640 is 64, right? So 5% is half of that, that is 32, right? And now we have 50%, that is half of 640, so 320, and 25% will be what? Half of 320, that is 160. We already did that. So I'm just, then we have what? 1% already, 1% is, we just shift the point here, so it will be 6.4, and we have 0.5%. I hope I didn't miss any. 0.5% is half of 1%, that is 3.2, or 1/10 of this 32, that is 3.2 also. And what did we leave? 2.5% is half of 5%, that is half of 5% is 16. And you got the idea. Any percentage we can, any number we can get these percentages of. And for everything you don't have to calculate all these percentages of toolkit. I'm just saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 you should know how to get in like 2 to 5 seconds. Okay. Now let's get 75%. We can break it in 50% plus 25%, right? Already we have 50%, that is 320, and we have 25%, 160, and we can add them mentally. It's very easy. It's 480. So the answer to this question is 480. Let's take 51%. We have 50%, 320, right? And we have 1% here, that is 6.4, and it's also very easy, 326.4, right? Okay, now this is a little bit tricky, but let's do it together. This is 37.5, right? Can I say it's, what is double of 37.5? It's exactly what we already calculated here, 75, right? Double of 30 is 60. Double of 7.5 is 15, right? So 75. Either we can do this way, or let me tell you, in creativity you can go anywhere, no one can stop you. So I can say that, I can see that it's 25% plus 12.5%, right? And here I got the advantage that 12.5 is exactly half of 25%. We already have 25%, that is 160, right? 25% is 160, and 12.5 is half of that, that is 80, and we got 240 as our answer right away. 37.5% of 640 is 240. So like that you can use any of them to get in the detail also of, if it's 37, if the percentages are in the points, you can still, like here, you can get 25% plus 0.5%, and you will get the answer. So it's not a big deal, just do the practice. And I always say, take care of the accuracy, speed will take care of itself. In the end, I will give you 2 tips so that you have a smooth journey doing mental calculations. First tip is, always try to do things easy for you, make things easy for you. If you can break a difficult a math problem into 2 or 3 steps, easier ones, do that. So when you double or add, it's easier than halving or subtracting, right? So if you have both choices, prefer this one, double or add, right? And then second tip is always do questions on paper pencil, and then when you are comfortable with paper pencil, try to do it mentally. So first we learn how to walk, then we start running, and then we can run very fast. So take care of the accuracy, go slow, speed will take care of itself.